All right, we're outside the IGDN booth on the last day of GenCon 2022. I've finally made contact with Mark Diaz Truman, who is very, very busy this year. And so Mark, tell us about Magpie and a little bit about, I don't know, you said you wanted to talk about the legacy of the IGDN and what's your thoughts on this year where we had such a strong showing?
Yeah, so I remember co-founding the IGDN with Marissa Kelly, Eloy LaSanta, John Wick, all the folks, Brennan Taylor, that were part of that original crew of folks in like 2011, 2012. And coming to GenCon, this is actually my 10th GenCon. Like I did the math, this is number 10. It's not year 10 because we had some pandemic years in there, but this is my 10th GenCon. And we didn't have the IGDN booth till I think it was like 2013 or 2014. And it was actually the moment that crystallized for us what the IGDN was and still is, which was a community of collaboration. Originally we were like going to talk about design stuff, that was the big goal, but then it turned out none of us agreed about design stuff or were even in the same space. But then we said, well, what can we do together? And we had this sort of light bulb moment when we got our first booth with GenCon and started doing a staff schedule and got everybody's books into the booth. And all of a sudden it was like, we're doing this together. This is a together thing. And what's interesting is coming here and seeing all the books, all the things that people are doing that are new and exciting, and knowing that there's a bunch of anchor points of the IGDN other places. Like Magpie Games is still here. We're still IGDN members. We're excited to be part of the organization, but we have our own 20 by 20 booth, and Wet Ink and Metal Weave have their own 10 by 20 booth. And so it's like seeing this as an incubator, not an end point, but a beginning point for people to come in, learn their crafts, learn how marketing works, learn how production works, and then be able to grow out of that space. It's just incredibly, incredibly moving to know that this place is still functioning, right? It's still happening. And for us as Magpie, we publish a lot of different things. I mean, it's obvious, you might know us from Avatar, but we also published Cartel, my Mexican narco fiction game, which is like 100% a indie game that sold a very few number of copies. And we love that. We love that diversity of products. We just also are at a size and a scale where we have to be really thoughtful about product design, which of course we learned by being IGDN members.
It's great, and I can speak from Wet Ink Games, it's the same thing. Like we wouldn't be where we are without like you said, the incubator space. It's
right.
And I'm really looking forward to some of the designers that are in the booth this year continuing to grow, because most of them are already working on their next thing, and what they got now is great, and what comes next sounds great too.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that reflection on like what it has been as one of the people that was there from the beginning.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to specifically shout out? You named some of your games. You want to shout out any particular product that you got at the booth this year that you're really proud of?
Well, I actually think the pandemic is such an interesting challenge, because we were here in 2019 and we had Zombie World then for the first time, which is a card-based game that we were working on, and it had a pretty good impact. We were happy. It was one of our best-selling products we've ever had. But we released a bunch of stuff in between, like Wizard Kittens, which is our casual, family-friendly card game. And we were just not prepared for this con. We brought 200 copies and they went by Friday morning. Wow. They just went out. And we're still learning, I guess is my point. We have some products that we're still trying to push those boundaries. Like Zombie World is a card-based game. We have another card-based game called Airlock that's going to be coming out in the next couple of years. We still want to push that format and push those boundaries of that. But then at the same time, success isn't easy. Success has its own challenges, right? Now we don't know what to do with ourselves. Do we bring 500 copies of Wizard Kittens? Does that make sense? Or should we actually say, oh, well, no, we're just going to bring what we have, we sell out, and that's its own kind of cool moment, right? So many questions. We're still learning, I guess is the thing. And for me, those products like Avatar, I'm learning more. It's even more learning, right? And thinking about things like having a starter set in Target, which is we're going to have next year for Avatar, is one of those moments where I might actually take my parents and point at it and say I made that, and maybe they'll understand what I do for 5 minutes, because it's so different than the work we've been doing as indie creators. Right. But at the same time, we're putting a Powered by the Apocalypse game in Target. That's the scale of what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, that's merit. There's merit in that. That's some real success.
Yeah.
All right, Mark. I know you've been very busy. Have you gotten a chance to see anything or see any events or anything that you want to give a particular notice to at the con that isn't at your booth?
Yeah, events are tough, right? Because it's hard when I'm doing so many meetings or running around. But I am super excited to see a bunch of awesome games here. And what this is like such a niche thing.
Well, that's what I'm here for. Shout it out.
So I was over even before the con started, which was funny because I had a meeting over at Oni Press, and they have a new T-Dragon game, and I love their little, like the T-Dragon game, which is based on the T-Dragon comics. They have a bunch of really cute stuffies. So as long as Marissa doesn't see this before we get home, I got her a really cute stuffy because she couldn't get one the last time we were here in 2019. But they have a new T-Dragon game, and I don't have, RPGs are tough because we're so in the industry, we know stuff's coming. I really love card and board games for that moment of being a fan again and just being like, I didn't know this existed. That's wonderful. Yes, I will take one. And getting that opportunity. Oni Press made me, a fan. Like I get to just be Mark who loves games for 5 minutes at the Oni Press booth.
That's a nice moment, for sure. I've had a couple things like that at the con myself. All right, so I said I was going to ask you a silly question, but I can't. I want to ask you about Cartel and ask you to describe what character you would be in Cartel if you were in Cartel.
Which playbook would I be in Cartel?
Yeah, exactly.
So we actually have a new playbook that's probably more me than I want to admit, which is the Alba Gangster. So the joke from Breaking Bad is sometimes you need a criminal lawyer, sometimes you need a criminal lawyer, right? And so Alba Gangster is a character who has a law degree and operates within Mexico's official systems, but on behalf of El Narco and the other narcos. And we've been play testing it. We had a good play test last night with some close friends. And what I saw in the play test was, here is a guy who thinks he's pretty smart and has a lot of plans. And I was like, this mirror needs to, please turn it away, sir.
I'm in this photo and I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And all the problems that come with having those plans. So it's really beautiful to see that. But that playbook, I think, is as close as it's going to get to me. That's it.
All right. Thanks for being so honest. So lastly, where can people find you, or can they order Wizard Kittens somewhere? Tell us where to find you on the internet.
We're on magpiegames.com. We have lots of Wizard Kittens in stock back at our warehouse. You can also find us on Twitter at Magpie Official. We are super, super excited to see people at our booth and wherever we are. It's great to be back at conventions, but our Discord, our community play days, our curated play program. We've actually spent a lot of the last couple of years hanging out with fans in new spaces. So come over to magpiegames.com and you can find us in all those spaces away from the convention.
All that sounds amazing. Thank you, Mark, for talking to me today. Have a great last few hours of the con.
Yeah, you too. And thanks again for making this happen. It's beautiful to see the IGDN still flourishing.
Awesome. Thank you.